Hold on, let me
All
cancel
right,
it.
good. We're good. We're good.
All right, everybody. Welcome to Brown and Browner. This is a fun edition that we in June that we like to call Father's Day weekend, the World Cup, the NBA, and everything else in between. But let's start off with the biggest thing and the biggest news in the biggest city in the world, in my opinion, New York City, where they're going to be celebrating a parade today for those New York Knickerbockers.
You got to tip your cap to the New York Knicks. They were the third seed in the East.
Yep.
And they came out of the East. Detroit didn't perform to get to that point to play them, and neither did the Boston Celtics.
Yep.
But you can't take anything away from them. They went through. It was a legendary or iconic role that they were on going into the playoffs, and basically outside of the Atlanta series, they didn't have any real competition. They either went 4-0 or 4-1.
Yeah, it takes either a hot hand, which we've seen that historically once in a while with the Jordans and everything else, or it takes a team effort. In this case, it was the latter. The team effort was unbelievable to watch. Like, regardless of basketball or other sports, like this is a testament to team sports and the ability to step up and play all five positions. Everybody played their role. They were gritty, and I think the post-game conference has said it best. Like, we knew we had this fight in them because they were that underdog that just wanted to fight.
They were dogs, and I do think that the grit, sort of embodies what New York is all about.
Yes.
I think, with any real great team, you have teams. The Sox won in 2006.
Yep.
With the boys can play.
Mark Burley, baby.
But those boys couldn't sustain that play. That was more of a coincidence, or that particular time that they were able to perform. But they didn't have the nucleus to be able to keep that for a period of time. I feel like New York has that nucleus, and even more so, they have the one superstar that is so underrated.
Yes.
With the Brunson burner. That you needed to. He took over the fourth quarter of every single game, and he was the guy they could go to who could score when it counted. And San Antonio did not have that. There was no Wemby in the fourth quarter.
Right.
There was no Castle in the fourth quarter. There was no one in the fourth quarter. No matter how many points they were up throughout the game, when the fourth quarter came, they seemed to pack it in and didn't know how to perform under pressure.
I think people have to start appreciating more of the fact, and I don't know if the media even honestly hyped this up enough. The guy gave up a $100 million contract.
That is so true, and I thought that was great.
And I think that is the greatest story out of all this. It's like, okay, you know what? I'm going to win a championship. I'm going to build a team around me. I'm going to let the organization build a team around me, despite James Dolan. I'm going to say that too. And I mean, Dolan gets some credit right now, but at the same time, he's taking a lot of flack for a number of years of how he's mismanaged his team. But at the end of the day, the guy was willing to forego money, brought in all of his crew, had the right coaching championship. I think Mike Brown's an excellent coach, no question about it. Regardless of this run or anything, he's been a great coach all the time, and now he gets validated. The fact of the matter is this was a fully blown team effort, and this should be studied as a blueprint for the rest of the league on how to win championships.
Well, you got to learn how to build a team. And I do agree with having three people that you feel comfortable with, that you've won championships with, that you can trust means a whole lot. If you I don't care, outside of the Olympics, you put too many stars in the same room, you don't seem to get the same result. Hey, LeBron, did you hear me?
Boston, LeBron, I mean, take your pick. We got so many examples of this over the last few years. Absolutely.
There's only one ball, but when you learn how to play with it together, you can make something beautiful, which New York did, and the city has been waiting 53 years for this. So I am happy for New York, even though I expected San Antonio to win, and I actually had San Antonio winning in 6.
Yeah,
they showed why you play the game, because it's not about what's on paper. It's not about who's the biggest name. It's about who has the heart, the passion, the grit, the wherewithal, the determination to lay it all on the line when it counts.
And that was the X. That was the X factor. I mean, San Antonio young, just like the Knicks, obviously. Strong core, no question about it. They'll be contending for 2, 3, 4 years. Absolutely. I don't see any doubt in that at all. And that's the reason I think we picked them too. And because the fact that they were well coached, deep, everything else. But at the end of the day, the depth didn't show because I think it got a little too big for their moment. They didn't have the comeback player of the fourth like they needed. Wemby couldn't step up, take over the game. Castle was, I would say, relatively benign most of the series. He was okay. I'll tell you the failure in all of it. I said it last week, and I'll say it again. De'Aaron Fox was a problem. The kid couldn't hit the broadside of a barn.
He made one shot, I think, in the whole series.
Yep.
And quite frankly, I think that was the difference. So you said about the young team. New York has a fairly young team. San Antonio has a really young team.
Yep.
The moment was too big for San Antonio because their veteran, and Fox is the veteran on the team, was not able to show leadership when it counted. The coach was not able to show that he could actually coach in the moment and stop those runs to help his team regroup and realize, hey, we built these big leads. Even with this little run, we still got a lead. Buckle down. Let's play our kind of ball.
I'll give you a recent example and a recent similarity. So if you look at the young Warriors, so this is 10 years ago now when they won their first chip, basically, for the Golden State Warriors, when you had Clay and Steph and everybody, bombing lights out of the building. It was their veteran Iguodala that led them.
And got the MVP.
Yes.
Yeah.
He made the key plays. He led the way. He got everybody together and made it happen. So, yes, you have to have that one veteran presence. And that's what was lacking, I think, in San Antonio this year with honestly Fox fading away. And I mean, I don't even call him a veteran because I think he's still kind of young, too. That's what's scary.
Well, he's sort of young, but I mean, he's
been around the block.
Yeah, he's been around the block. He's been on a team or two. Same with Brunson. But Brunson brought the pail in the bucket.
Yes.
And when it was time to play, I have to give him so much credit. He reminds me of Allen Iverson and the fact that he has the stature that many people don't feel can be effective in the NBA, and yet he can go in the trees and score at will, and nobody's stopping him.
He was AI with 30 pounds, basically. Seriously, that's how he performed. He's AI with 30 pounds.
Probably his demeanor, too. This dude was calm, cool, and serious. And I think being a leader and having that kind of focus, people feed off of that, and they're like, hey, this is our leader and we need to get into line with that. And I think that's what Jordan did with his team. It took a little while, but Brunson has done this fairly quickly because they've been good the last 2 years. Thibodeau, I feel bad for you, but I think it is pretty much an indictment in how you coach, because you coach regular season, you don't use your bench effectively. And I have to give Mike Brown all of the credit, because when they were down 29 points with 9 minutes left and 27 points with 7 minutes left in the third quarter, he went to the deepest part of his bench. Every single person to try to find the right combination to build some kind of momentum. And that is a true coach coaching in the moment.
When you're
that's what New York needed, and Mike Brown was a great hire. I'm sorry, I love Tom Thibodeau, but again, I think this sort of puts a light on how he coached and how it wasn't effective when playoffs came.
Well, James Dolan, I think, took a swipe too in a post-game presser, a little bit toward Thibodeau and his style of coaching, not in the worst way, but to the point of what we just said. Basically, the man wears down his team when he coaches, and he's a great regular season coach, as we know, one of the greatest. But when it comes to the playoffs, his teams are burned out, and they can't do what Mike Brown was able to do with his bench. He went to Landry Shamet, and that guy's knocking down threes. And he's got.
But how do you build that confidence if you're never playing during the season?
Exactly.
If you're going only 6 deep, 7 deep tops, how are these other guys ever feeling like they're part of the team and can produce when the moment calls for it?
Yep. And you got to remember, this is the NBA. There are 15, 16, 17 players on each team, whatever it is. And everybody's an NBA level player.
That's right. They're professionals.
I'm saying that tongue in cheek because LeBron's kid's in the league.
Oops. And that's we already talked about that.
For a different day.
That's just name dropping. Hey, we want to appease this person. Let his son play with him so he can make 2 more records. And again, just have to say this. This is, to me, why LeBron, you're a great player, but you need to watch this thing on TikTok that Allen Iverson said about you. You're a great player, but you run from situations. You want to call yourself the king instead of being anointed the king by the people who watch you and play with you. And I think this, to me, just speaks volumes of, I'm setting records. I've been here forever. I got my kid on the floor with me. Only father-son thing. Doesn't mean anything to me.
Well, I don't want to bridge the conversation just yet, but we'll get into Cristiano Ronaldo in just a second, who I like to equate.
Yes, we will.
Yeah.
Yes, we will. My wife's going to hit me for that conversation, but it's the truth.
But that said, I'm going to go back to like I said, congratulations to the Knicks. But let's take a moment to appreciate New York City is one of the biggest cities in the United States, if not the biggest. And You've got a parade today for the Knickerbockers. You've got Shinnecock kicking off with golf with the U.S. Open in New York out in Long Island. You got the World Cup. This is your moment to shine, New York. Let's see what happens.
Let's see what happens. But you know what? Kudos to the city of New York. Kudos to the way their fans traveled and basically took over
awesome.
the other stadiums. When they were on the road, they felt like they were at home. And that means a lot when you're playing.
I've always knocked New York as a pro sport biased town. It always has been. And they don't have that college presence or stuff like that we see in the smaller towns, or even in Chicago for that matter, where we've got a big college presence, that kind of thing. But I tell you what, New York showed up. What's that?
I disagree with that. St. John's has a big following.
St. John's does, but it's a pocket. It's Queens, and it's not 40,000 fans traveling. It's 6. But it is loyal. Don't get me wrong. It is loyal. Just like Philadelphia, you got Villanova, that kind of thing. So I get it.
Right.
I get it. But the way that they traveled was almost like a college football situation. Like
it really was. It really
that was pretty cool to watch. I gotta say.
It was.
I mean, yes, it's a different income bracket.
Well, I marveled at the fact that New York, to me, was the underdog.
Yeah, absolutely. And they played that role to a fault, and they've done it to a fault.
And they did. And they did it, and their fans were there. And you know what? Besides Chalamet, whatever his name is, I loved watching it. I'm sorry, it does mean something. It meant something when the Lakers had their run in Showtime, and you had all the stars there and the glitz and the glamour. You had that with every New York game, whether it was at home or away, because those stars traveled. Those guys wanted to support their team, and it wasn't just Spike Lee. It was a cavalcade of various stars that were there to support their team, and not just because they're hot right now. These guys were there the whole time.
One of the few things that I will ever agree with Stephen A. Smith, who he said yesterday, they were talking about the folks that are riding on the parade bus and all that. And obviously they'll have Celeb Row and everything else kicking off today with the parade. He said there's only one man that deserves to be on the team bus for that parade, and that's Spike Lee. And that I 100% agreed with him. There's Adam Sandler, there's John Turturro, there's everybody else, everybody else. Spike Lee is the face of New York basketball. There's no question.
And he has been, and he stuck his neck out, and he was blamed by the fans and the entire city when they lost to Indiana. So all of those things, Spike, you got your moment. It was great to see just this genuine excitement and joy that all of the stars they were hugging, all of the fans. It just made me feel good.
It brought humanism. It brought humanism to the New York Knicks, honestly, because you'd always thought, okay, there's this like money thing and everything else with the New York Knicks, but it brought relatability, honestly, the celebrity fandom and everything. I get the price points, all that crap, but it brought a relatability. It's like, okay, this guy's a diehard fan. He's like me when I cheer for my college team or whatever it is.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. So that was kind of cool to see, at least back in the day.
And you can't condemn a person because they're famous and have money to be able to get the seats they get if they're consistent in doing it. If they're just doing it.
Yeah, if they're just doing it to show off,
Yeah, like I come in because I'm Trump and I want to have the spotlight on me. That's a whole different thing. But these guys were real fans. As a matter of fact, when we talked about this, Obama was in the crowd. He wasn't putting the spotlight on him. He was dressed normal. He was sitting with Michelle, and they were checking out the game. It wasn't about him. It was about the game.
Look where Zoran was. Standing room only. 300 level amongst the plebs.
and that was the mayor.
Yeah, that's the mayor.
You gotta appreciate that kind of fandom. And again, the whole idea, like when you watch these games, like you have the away team, they have their fans in their stadium. You go there because you want to be with the fans, enjoying the moment like you were at the game. These guys went and enjoyed the moment with the fans in the game, in the stadium, not in some bulletproof thing. I get the bulletproof part because the president, I get all that, but you weren't even looking at the game. You weren't even interested in the game. You fell asleep in part of the game. They showed you, Donald.
I'll tell you what pissed me off. It wasn't so much the Trump factor, and like I said, it is what it is. His cabinet's sitting there on front row, so they took seats from people that are either, I get celebs, all that, but I mean, these are people that are fans at the end of the day. They took seats from the fans, and that's what pissed me off. You had Howard Lutnick, you had Christy Noem sitting there right next to the bench. I'm like, who are these clowns?
Yeah, and you guys don't even care. You're just getting the photo out.
You couldn't name a player, all right? I'm sorry.
Not one player. And again, they took away the fans' ability to have their outside fan, get together and party. They took that away from them. They blocked off all the streets. You got to be about, if you're about the people, you would have never done that because you didn't need to do that. It isn't about you. You went to the darn college football championship game and they're spotlighting on you instead of the moment that these kids worked hard to get to. Stop. And there should be some kind of law that just says,
I'm going to throw the counteractive challenge right now. Why aren't you at a World Cup game? You were anointed ambassador of the game or whatever garbage award you got from Gianni Infantino, the most corrupt man on earth. and now you can't even show up to your own home opener. You can't show up to any other World Cup game around the country to represent this country. That's shameful.
Well, I would say this, at least right now, I want him to focus on Iran.
He's busy with that. And that's fine. I'm sorry. Justin Trudeau and Katy Perry showed up for the U.S. game. Canadians.
Well, and what's also what's to me about this whole thing is that is the World Cup. Yeah. If you want to be somewhere, that's where you want to be. And I think a good transition into the whole World Cup thing is we're talking about how basketball and the fandoms and all of that, and Trump being there. He's not there for the World Cup. The World Cup to me is, and I'm an American. Soccer is definitely not the top sport, but boy, it means something. And it's not supposed to be about politics. It's supposed to be like the Olympics is, bringing these everybody together, people enjoying rooting for their various teams, and enjoying what is the most influential and I guess watched global sport in the world. That's what it's about.
This roughly 5-week stretch, I think it'll bring some cool shine to soccer in this country because of not because of what the U.S. is doing, what the U.S. fans are doing. Look at the international fans that are coming in. It is the coolest story on the earth right now.
It sure was. When you saw like all of the Ghanaians
hanging out in Dallas, taking over Cowboy Stadium and shit on it. It's great.
You gotta love it. You gotta love it. And to see people come as far as they did, talk about real fans. Those are fans. Because it's one thing to be there to watch a game. It's another thing to pay thousands of dollars to go watch that game.
And that's kind of part of the unfortunate piece of this is just the ticket prices have been exorbitant. We've talked about it a little bit here, and I'm not going to go too much into it. But at the end of the day, these international fans show up for their crowds. They are the supporters. Look at all Argentina fans in Kansas City. They took over the city. Coolest story I will throw out really quick: Algeria. Last team you ever think about anywhere, and they played the opener against Argentina, and obviously that. They are housed in Lawrence, Kansas, one of my home bases back in the day, and at the University of Kansas. They were received with a full-on entourage down Main Street in their team bus as they drove in. They've been embraced on campus. Their leadership is in town. They've been anointed in the local mayor's office. It is the coolest thing to see with the students embracing the culture and everything. There's not a single Algerian that lives in Lawrence, Kansas. I can tell you that.
There's a lot of people that look alike that live in Kansas, but not that look like that. Yeah.
And this is the coolest thing to see, that embrace and everything. That's what we try to represent here all the time. Is this
every time? That's right. It's about us. Remember, we're the human race first.
Yes.
Let's embrace each other because we're all humans, and enjoy and appreciate the differences that we have. That's what makes us all great.
Yep. Now, I like to think that this is the best time for what we try to message here as the time to shine, because you get to see it in these fan bases. Look at what happened to Cape Verde. I mean, that is the coolest story on the planet right now.
Well, with Cape Verde, what do you mean?
So the game result by itself, obviously you tied Spain. That's freaking unbelievable in itself. The goalkeeper was a freaking magician. He's gone from 50,000 followers to 9.5 million in 2 days, which is cool as hell. The man's 40 years old and he's saving shots left and right. But even after the game, obviously there's a huge Spanish contingent in the crowd. There's one or two Cabo Verde fans, because the population of this place is barely a couple 100,000 people, right, on this island. Whoever traveled here and could afford it. They're singing there, hanging out with the fans. Everybody's mixed in. They're throwing Cabo Verde fans in the sky. It's this coolest thing.
Awesome.
You saw that with the Congo fans too the other day.
I saw that. The Congo fans. That was awesome. And actually, they ended up with a 1-1 draw against Portugal. And that's leading into what we wanted to talk about, because the stars in the World Cup were able to shine. You had the Kane, you had Messi, you had
everybody. Yep.
Everybody was doing their part. The stars of their team. The guy who plays Man City, who plays for what's his name?
Erling Haaland.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah. Man's a freak of nature.
What happened to Ronaldo?
Yeah, well, see, and that's our biggest question of the day. And we'll go through all the groups and stuff and all the games here in a second. But let's get to the fun part of it. You know, like I said, the stars have shined. You got 2 goals from some of the elite players. You got the hat trick.
You got the hat trick from Messi.
Yeah, hat trick from the GOAT. But then CR7's sitting there watching the night before, and he's like, oh, all these guys are shining. All these guys are shining. The man was a no-show yesterday. Literally. 0. Not even a shot on goal. Think about it. Not even a shot on goal. And I don't care if a defensive attacker or not. You're CR7. You're supposedly the second best player to ever play the game. Some people say the GOAT. I a little few notches, honestly.
Well, you know, my wife's a huge Ronaldo fan, and granted, over the years he's done some spectacular things. I like him as well. However, I feel like Messi is here and Ronaldo is here, and maybe it was closer before he went to the Middle East and played, but since he's done that,
he to me is the LeBron of soccer. Meaning, he is an individual contributor.
Yep.
He's done everything in his own right to get all the records and accolades and all that, and most international goals, all that craziness. But dude will never be able to lead a team to the promised land like Messi has.
No, Messi has done it. They're you know, going at the World Cup to see if they can win it 2 in a row.
Yep.
And this is where I think it matters a lot when you talk about being a leader and being an icon. It's how you interact with your team.
Interact with the players.
That's it.
Watch his movement. That tells you everything.
And I think the players are welcoming him. I don't think Ronaldo has done anything to build up that kind of relationship with his teammates. And I think they prefer not having him on. As a matter of fact, it's been talked about since last night that maybe Ronaldo should be on the bench.
Yeah, well, and I'll show it all in body action. I don't even worry about the off-the-field politics of it all. Look at the way that Messi moves on the field to create positionality, not only for his own players, but himself. The man is a tactical magician when you look at the way he moves on the field. It doesn't even take like quick movements. It's smart movements. He knows where to position himself, particularly not only for his own benefit, but to feed the ball to the next guy that's going to go attack. Cristiano Ronaldo was sitting in the box all day. Get the ball to me. Get the ball to me. Get the ball to me.
Give it to me. He didn't even really go out to get the ball. And there were plays, and I get it. People, you know, and I have to say this because a lot of people misrepresent soccer, in my opinion. Yeah, they run for 45 or 90 minutes. No, they don't.
No, they don't.
No, they don't.
Not
and if you watch, many of them walk around, but Ronaldo was walking around. There were balls going near him, and he didn't even change his walking stride. He just sort of walked around and pointed at other people like to tell them what to do, but he wasn't doing anything.
The hardest thing I've done as a soccer coach is try to teach my players that they need to play their position. That is the entire essence of soccer. You play your position. You trust your teammates to do their work to get the ball where they need to, but you also have to work off the ball to be where you need to be.
Where you need to be.
Argentina is a masterclass in that. No question about it. Like every bit of that game, regardless of whether they were playing a lower team or not, they were moving like magically around the field. Brazil wasn't. They're the ones that are known for this stuff. There's
another one. Brazil fell off the face of the earth. They got a star, but who? What? Where are you, Brazil? But yeah, I have to say one thing in Ronaldo's defense. Argentina has a better team.
Yeah, absolutely.
Than Portugal has.
Well, I'm gonna say yes. At the same time, Portugal's supposed to have the best midfield, and they do by tactical numbers. If you look at it, their 3 midfielders are elite. They're top 10 players in the world, but I don't think they play enough together, and their star player doesn't set an example enough to make it all work at the end of the day.
Yeah, he doesn't make his team better. I don't see him doing anything that I would say make him a great player.
As my daughter said, we don't talk about Bruno Fernandes.
No, Bruno.
Yeah, but no, and that's where I said you're starting to see the teams that are going to be contenders. And this is just round 1. I get it. We still got another 2-3 weeks of group play, and then we still have the elimination rounds. But you can already start seeing where the teams are playing together cohesively. France, Argentina, England, all the guys that we all
looked great yesterday, and they played a top team. Croatia's no joke.
Exactly. Yeah, Luka Modric, my God. but at the same time, Brazil and Portugal, y'all sitting on that fringe right now where you might not even make second in your group,
That if they don't make second, then it's a crapshoot on that whole third group and how many points and all of that stuff. They're not supposed to be in those positions.
Well, I'll give you a selfish thought on this one. This is just me because of the game I'm attending down in Miami on July 3rd. Right now, depending on how the groups play out, Argentina, as long as they group through their group as they're one, I will see Argentina on that day. However, who will they be matched with? It's either the second place coming out of Spain's group, which is right now maybe Spain.
Could be. That would be a hell of a matchup coming out of group play.
Or it could be a third place finisher, Portugal. You're slipping.
Or Brazil.
Yep. So it's going to get interesting, but we'll go through the groups here in a second. But like I said, what you just said, the stars have shined, other than the one so far, and we've gotten through all the round one group play as of last night. You can see where the teams are playing together cohesively. And honestly, there's some cool storylines out there. Cabo Verde, I want you to run the table, baby.
Hey, I just want to see the small teams. I'm an underdog guy.
Yep.
I would love to see these small countries where you could hear. I forgot what they said on the one. Is like the one country's playing another, and it's like I think it was Germany against whoever they played, and they're like Germany, like. One city is the size of like 15 of this country's population. It's like, wow, and I always root for the smaller guy. But looking at some of these groups, like Group A.
Let's start with Group A. Yeah. So the opener, you had South Africa, Korea, Mexico, Czechoslovakia. Out of that group, honestly, Mexico, I think, has got home field, so that helps. They've got a strong, cohesive team. Chicharito, you were never a team player. I'm glad you're off.
Yeah, I was talking about that with my wife. Like, what happened to Chicharito? He was supposed to be the next best thing. He was nobody, and then he started popping his mouth off and got sort of,
I'm going to tell you the guy that I love most on Mexico, and he's not a starter, but he could be playing in the second half of some games and maybe even crucial games. Goalie Guillermo Ochoa is back. MoMA.
He did pretty well. I think, Mexico, I think, in my opinion, gets a break here.
Yeah.
Although maybe South Africa is good. I can't say what their ranking is. Czechia or the old Czech Republic.
The Koreans can play defense, but they have no firepower. That's their problem too. So 1, 2, 3, and that is going to be interesting. I'm still picking Mexico as the one there, but Korea and Czechoslovakia will be a fight for number 2, I think, in that division.
Potentially, but Korea already has won a game and they got 3 points, so that gives them a leg up.
Yep.
How about Group B?
Group B, I call this the group of neutrality because you got Switzerland.
Well, and I'm sorry, Qatar and Bosnia.
Yeah, but Bosnia did not look good at all. Qatar has no hope either, but they've got it. At this point, I think Switzerland wins it and Canada goes second. But Canada, honestly, you're disappointing me because you've had wins over supposedly the U.S. and all these other teams. But you can't prove it in the biggest moment. And this is your chance to shine. This is your home floor. If you can't beat Team Neutral, who Switzerland plays unbelievable defense, they don't have that star power offense guy. And if you can't win the division against somebody like that, you're in trouble.
Well, and I do feel like, given that they all tied their first games, it can be anybody's, group to win.
Yep.
I do think the Swiss has the upper hand. But I would love to see someone like Qatar or Bosnia be able to come through. So, I think they're the only group where they had ties all the way through.
Yeah.
Actually, Group G and Group H also had ties all the way through.
I'll get the monetary piece of Group G here in a second, too.
We'll talk about neutrality. If all of your first games, everybody ties, and your scores are 1-1, we'll see how that goes.
Might be an ugly division starting tomorrow for Group B again in their second round runs. Group C, you got the Scottish, who got the coolest fan base on earth. They're drying out Boston.
Well, I think that was Scotland. I think one of the things they did was they had a conversation with the team and the police department, etc., saying, hey, I understand you're here to play some soccer, but let's not trash up our city.
I'm be playing my bagpipes at 6:30 at my Airbnb. I'm going to be emptying out every single beer tavern in this damn city where you call Freedom Boston.
That would be freaking hilarious if somebody got out with a kilt on and literally every morning at 6:30 played the bagpipes. You know what that would be? What's that?
They're doing it for real.
Oh, they're doing it for real?
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
Oh my God. I could see like a scene from Coming to America when Eddie Murphy was so happy he met the girl and he's singing and everybody's like, shut the fuck up, shut the fuck up. But give the Scots all the credit in the world. They won their first match. They're in a pretty light division. I don't think Haiti's much of a team.
Well, I mean, okay, so Scotland's up because they got the 3 points for the win right now.
Yep.
Brazil is in there, who's looking very pedestrian because they don't have anything on the front pitch that's able to take over a game. And I'm not even blaming Neymar because I think he's washed up, in my opinion. That's my thought. And
because he's rolled on the ground too much, probably hurt himself doing all this antics crap.
I feel like Brazilian soccer since the time of
the second Ronaldo.
Well, the best Ronaldo. I'm going to call him still that because that dude led him to a championship.
Right.
I call him the Ronaldo. So the Ronaldo, ever since then, I feel like Brazilian soccer has been taught to just take fouls, basically. They're taught to dance in a different way, not actually strategically.
Not the rhythm of the game that made Brazil so great.
They're samba on the floor kind of people. You know?
Yeah, Pele is rolling in his grave right now. Because that's not Brazilian soccer. And Brazil should not even be talked about in the way that we're talking about them because they have been a soccer giant. They are soccer.
Well, let me start with the definition of blasphemy. So Brazilians got this rich history of soccer, everything else. You would think that everything kind of stays in-house in terms of coaching, everything else. They went out and got a European coach. What does that tell you about your own country's development and problem right now when you are the brand and the leader? It's like that's like the Yankees going out and hiring a Red Sox coach. Seriously, it's that blasphemous. I don't get it.
I don't get that either, but I'm hopeful that they rebound because when you see soccer played by Brazilians, there is a movement, a rhythm, and it makes you feel like, I just love watching them play. Can't say I love that now.
No, there's no fluidity to what they're doing right now. And honestly, if I'm going to pick one team out of that group, it's Morocco.
I was about to say that. Morocco.
You're talking about a top 10 team. They've got players. They got motivation. They got everything coming out of there. And I kind of like Morocco to maybe take this division if they can beat Brazil head-to-head. That'd be kind of nice to see.
If Morocco, well, they wouldn't have to beat them because they just
sorry. Yeah. Sorry, thinking the other way. They tied up.
If they can win, if they can beat Haiti, they would have 4 points.
I'm still stunned that Haiti's in the tournament. Again, I'm going to be a little biased here and say that they got struggles in their own country and everything, but I'm impressed that they're making it. That kind of thing.
I think that I guess it's okay to see the expansion of the World Cup. But what you don't want to see is, in my opinion, as a sports fan, are teams that are visibly significantly less than every other team is in the group or in the entire World Cup. And you can see that they're just outclassed in every single way. I don't want to watch a game where you're going to score 4 goals and the other team scores 0. Just to prove a point of having more teams in the World Cup.
I'm going to give you the controversial take. I hate participation trophies, and I hate that this has happened. College football, college basketball, same problem in this country. You don't give everybody the opportunity to compete at the highest level if they haven't deserved it. It's as simple as that. I'm sorry, that's the competitive way. It's not even the American way. It's the competitive way in sports.
Well, and it's sort of like what you said with the participation part. Not everybody's invited. There's a reason. Not everybody's invited to the Masters. You got a lot of great golfers out there, but you got to earn the right to
earn your way to play there. Exactly.
Yeah. So I think
if Haiti I wouldn't be surprised if Haiti got like a 7 spot put on them, just like the Germans are doing in their own division at some point.
Yeah, Germans are doing that. Speaking of, we'll get to Germany because they'll be after this one. But speaking of a funny group, U.S. is leading their Group D.
Team America, and honestly, that first half of football, some of the best football I've ever seen from the Team America ever. Because of the fluidity of the ball moving and everything else, movement. Getting it to the right guys, clearing the box. I mean, it was impressive to watch. Disappointing to see that Pulisic may be injured, and that's the reason he was pulled in the second half.
Yeah.
It was awesome to see Balogun step up, I will say. I've been a big Lauren Balogun fan. I think he's kind of a one-man monster, but the guy can put up goals if you give him the opportunity. So it'll be interesting to see how he develops over this World Cup.
Well, I wonder, and this is the part, and I'll ask you this question. Was it U.S. playing great, or was it the competition they played against?
That's the reason I say it with a grain of salt. Prove it to me against a good team. Now, you've got what I call a must-win tomorrow, because Australia pulled off.
Yeah. If they don't win that game against Australia, or at least tie it, they could be in trouble.
I don't even say the tie. I think they have to get the win. If you're going to prove yourself to be on the national stage, you need to win this group cleanly and outright, in my opinion, to the point where you can play strategic. Let's say you beat Australia 2-0, something like that. You can afford to potentially rest some of your players in game 3 of the round play, and then lead into as a 1 seed in your bracket on the round of 32 to line up against whoever you're going to line up against. There is a potential, and again, I will get to the whole math of it all and where people seed out and everything else. There's a very small potential. I think it's like less than 10% chance. United States, England, July 4, Philadelphia.
We talked about that. That would be awesome to see it, but I wouldn't put my money on that.
Move that game right in front of Constitution Hall.
I wouldn't put my money on that. And if America even got through the group stage, you'll probably see Donald Trump, and they'll probably try to move the game to in front of the White House like they did with this UFC match they did over the weekend.
We'll touch on that
in a minute. Yeah.
But no. Like I said, I think the U.S. will win their group, but they got to prove it to me tomorrow night or tomorrow afternoon. They need to win that game convincingly to set themselves up for at least fan appreciation around the country to say, okay, we could contend at the elimination stage. I'm not saying get past 1 or 2 rounds, but I'm just saying contend. At least look like formidable. So we'll see where that goes. As far as second in that division goes, everything's a toss-up now with Australia taking out Turkey. Or Turkey, I should say.
Turkey, yeah. I'm sorry, it's still Turkey. We don't eat Turkey. There's no Turkey in Thanksgiving, is there? You have any Turkey dinners?
I believe the old word is Constantinople, Istanbul, whatever that whole song is.
Yeah. So, and I get it. I get it. You know, how you pronounce your name, it should be what you feel is appropriate if this is your country. Yes. But I'm still calling you Turkey.
I'm still calling you Turkey, and I'm still calling you Czech Republic. Either way.
I heard you say that earlier instead of Czechia.
But yeah, so it'll be interesting to see where that division plays out. But like I said, I think the U.S. has a chance to prove themselves. We'll see where it goes. Group B. This is the German monster we've always known.
But can they win it all?
Can they win it all? That's always their wild card question mark. They always come in with the flash, the grit, the strong defense, the guys that can score. I mean, I think you got the makings of another Miroslav Klose type player with the rest of their squad. These guys just hammer home the ball. It's as simple as that. They know how to play basketball. They know how to play soccer.
Well, they're like the Brazilian teams. Yep. They're one of those that have that legacy. They're known to play great soccer. Yep. Not necessarily known to win World Cups as much. That's
their problem. They can't get over that next hurdle. And I don't know if it's still – I mean, I think they'll win their group easily, especially with the wins that they've had. Ivory Coast will be interesting, but I think still gonna whip them a little bit. But at the end of the day, this German team you have to start asking what can they do beyond the quarters. You're already thinking that far ahead.
Well, we'd like to see them. I'd like to see them go far. Yeah. Because I like to see the best teams play in soccer in the most important moments, and I think they will. Ivory Coast actually looked halfway decent, but again, you got to have that firepower. If you're scoring 1 goal a game, you might not win once you get past the group stage.
That German defensive line, I'm sorry, it's almost World War II-esque. It's too strong.
Well, and I'd have to say this: 1-0 games are not exciting to watch. And were the way that Italy used to play soccer. They scored the first goal and then
they sit back and play 11 back. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's like we don't even want to try to get the ball past midfield. So
notice how you're not even in the World Cup anymore, Italy.
Yeah, exactly. Hello. In Ecuador and Curacao, again, I think those are just teams that are outclassed.
Teams that potentially should not be here because of just not having shown that quality on the top levels. Group F. I'll tell you what.
Sweden, baby.
The Sweden sensation. Now, the interesting thing there is I picked the Netherlands by a landslide in this one when I initially saw the paperwork. But, boy, the freaky-deaky Dutch can't put up the 10 goals or stuff that they used to do back in the day.
I'm surprised. I still wouldn't count them out. I think they'll finish second.
It's going to be nasty because I actually like Tunisia. They actually played you know, they give up a lot of goals, but they play well. So I'll give them some credit. And granted, it was against Sweden, who put up a decent number. I'm sure the guy in the box, Zlatan, is proud. But at the same time, Japan is usually known for decent defense, no offense. That's how Asian teams are, because they're undersized, hands down. You can even see it on the pitch. It's scary. But the fact that they put up a tie with Netherlands, that was pretty impressive.
That was. Yeah. We'll see what they do this weekend.
This division will get interesting only because Sweden rung up 5 initially to start, so they're looking good.
They're looking real good.
Yep. Group G, you got the Kiwis, you got the Iranians.
Well, you would have thought that Belgium would have taken this over.
Well, I would have thought the local leaders would be taking this one.
Well, you know what's crazy about the Belgium game? I think that was against Egypt, right?
Yeah.
And they brought in Lukaku, who's been around for a while.
Yeah.
And literally, he comes in the game and bam, they scored. They were down 1-0 at that point, and bam, they scored like minutes later. I was shocked by that. Belgium doesn't look as formidable as they were in the past.
They're lacking a defense, but they got guys like Lukaku that can keep them in a game. That's what's scary. So it'll be interesting to see how they strategically use them. I think they're still going to win the division, but this is going to be one of those toss-ups. So you got 4 teams all tied in the first rounds. New Zealand and Iran, I mean, they may have put up 2 goals each, but let's face it, this is New Zealand and Iran. Let's see how Belgium and Egypt strike out, because you got Mo Salah and you got Lukaku. Who are the two
I was about to say.
Yeah.
Salah, I have to say, is a great soccer player.
Yes.
I expect Belgium and Egypt to take this group.
I agree. Group H. So this is where it gets interesting. You got the man who likes to bite people like Mike Tyson with Suarez.
Is he still playing? Because I was looking for him.
Oh, no, so he plays on the Miami team with Messi. Actually,
that's right. He sure does. He plays with Messi in Miami.
Yep.
Mr. So, bite him in the neck. Bite him. Mike Tyson.
Yeah, I'm a tackling. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
But Spain, where are you? I get that they had. I get that they had Jamal. Yeah, I get that they get Jamal coming in injured, and they strategically brought him in the game. But the guy was also a dud coming in. He didn't put up anything. He couldn't get movement going, and maybe that's part of his injury too. But where's the rest of the Spanish squad? You're supposed to be the second most favored team to win this behind France, statistically. Where are you?
I am surprised, but I have to say this. Sometimes you need a slap in the face to wake you up. I think that was the slap in the face.
But is that slap in the face coming from a goalkeeper from Cabo Verde who's 40 years old and said, "Get the hell out of here"?
Stopping everything.
That man was a magician. I loved watching it.
I hope that we continue to see that kind of play. You know, it's funny because there was one of the games, and I wanted to ask you about this. So it was the England game.
Yes.
There was a penalty shot by Kane.
Yeah.
The goalie blocked the penalty shot, and I know the rule. The rule is you stay on the line. Right. You're not allowed to advance, right? Come on, man. Come on, man.
There's 2 things I can't stand in the World Cup and in general soccer right now. One is obviously the offsides rule. I can't stand it to this day. If people are able to cherry pick, it's your defense's fault, in my opinion. That's the way I've always seen it. And I get the whole pass-up thing and everything else. But the fact that you're taking VAR and you're microcosming it to this, not this.
Yeah. Messi's shoulder was over the line, so he didn't get their goal.
Yeah, exactly. And then, of course, this situation, which I think was more tragic, honestly.
I did, too, because that changed the whole complexity.
It changed the entire game. Yeah, It changed the game. And that's what sucked. I hated it for Croatia. At the same time, I get the rules, but there's got to be some break here. I mean, this is crazy. Like, if you do have this finite technology, in my opinion, where you can look literally down to the millimeter, okay, let's expand the rules a little bit. A foot. You need to be a foot offside. You need to be a foot off the line. That kind of thing. That where you have some legitimacy to say, okay, this guy was legitimately off the line. He's an entire, shoe pad off of the line. Okay, that counts. Fine. If this guy was clearly past another defender, fine. I get it. But you're talking about
millimeters. Yeah, millimeters. Same with the goalie. He didn't look like he stepped that far off the line.
Yeah.
And immediately they're all yelling, "Oh, he stepped up!" And it's like it's already a disadvantage for the goalie to have to protect that large goal against the person who's getting a penalty kick.
And a man named Harry Kane. Yeah, exactly.
So I don't know about that one, but I did not to get off the subject. But yeah, I just didn't like that. I'm still thinking for this is going to be Uruguay and Spain.
Yeah.
But cheering for the little guys, Saudi Arabia. And
I'm cheering for Cabo Verde to sneak in at a 2. It'd be nice to see. We'll see what happens.
Yep.
Group I. So you
juggernauts.
You've got the Viking Warriors up there, and man, they're pretty cool to watch too. They do the whole rowing thing.
They showed these guys. They were on an escalator. And they were roaring up the escalator. That was fucking cool, man. That's fucking cool. And the whole stadium does it. That's way better than the wave.
That's 100%. 100%. They need to use this in other places. No question about it.
Well, okay, so if you were to use it somewhere, thinking American sports, where would you use it?
Carolina Hurricanes.
No. We're going to talk about them briefly. We haven't talked about them. We were supposed to. But the Minnesota Vikings.
100%.
Minnesota, you should adopt that, guys. You saw what Norway is doing. Talk about blowing the horn and then rowing the boat. Come on, baby.
You should be honking that horn and going, roof.
That's right. Row that boat right after you honk that horn. There you go. Blow that horn. Blow the whistle. Beep, beep, beep.
You're doing they say cultural appropriation or whatever. This time it's appropriate. Take it.
It is. I don't think there's much to say. Mbappe looked great. Yeah. Norway looked great. The Norwegian who plays for Man City looked great.
Got 3 strong teams here. I consider Senegal strong, technically. Even though they lost, I consider them strong. They're probably not in the same category as obviously Norway and France, but this will be 3 teams I think coming out of this division because there'll be third place teams that make it in. I think this is one of them.
Potentially. Plus, sorry to say this, but each one of those teams will have at least 3 points because
you got Iraq. Yeah. Let's put it this way: Iraq is no Iran. That's all I can say.
I rock, but I don't run.
No, that's straight up.
All right. Group J.
Yep. So
another one. And actually, Austria looked pretty darn good.
Austria's going to look good. I think they'll put up a good fight, but I think this is Argentina's division, hands down. They'll run through it like nothing basically. The team is just too strong and they're moving too well. And honestly, when your leader is moving that well, the rest of your team will follow. It's as simple as that.
Agreed. I do think that Austria finished second. I'm sorry, Jordan and Algeria.
Yeah.
You're just outclassed here.
Yep.
I missed the game with Colombia, but apparently they did end up beating Uzbekistan last night.
Yeah, they got their W really easily. It wasn't much. And I expect Colombia to probably be 1 or 2. However, the failure of this division is really Portugal at the end of the day. You're talking about the sixth team on paper. Your best player didn't even show up, in my opinion, didn't even move. He was a statue in the box. Literally, every time they had a set piece, he was just a statue in the box. And
he did nothing.
It's not like the Congo was setting up defenses around him. The dude just couldn't move. He's too old, in my opinion, at this point.
Well, and that's why they were saying in many different sporting shows last night and this morning that he should be coming off the bench. They have a better player who has been relegated to the bench because of Ronaldo. Put Ronaldo on the bench. I don't care if he cries and whines. You used to be great. You're not great any longer.
Yep. Now, I don't know if you saw the cool thing about the Congo. I got to look up the guy's name because it escapes my head. There's a guy that apparently stands in the stands in any Congo game, whether it's on their continent, on the World Cup stage, whatever, and they brought him over, luckily. The man stands still for 90 minutes on his chair and just points. And it's a representation of the first leader of the Democratic Congo, from my understanding. I gotta look up the history piece on this, but that's his entire spiel. And luckily, the federation paid for him to come to the World Cup. He stood there for 90 minutes, pointing out.
I did not see or hear this.
Yeah, I'll send the article afterwards. But no, it's pretty cool to see that they're getting these fan bases, like the history, the country, everything else into all this.
Well, Spain used to have this super fan. He used to wear the Mickey Mouse cap when we went to see Spain against Germany when they were here for the World Cup years ago.
Yep.
He was there, and he actually sacrificed his family, friends, and everything so that he could bang the big drum and follow the Spain team.
Yep.
I don't know what happened to the guy or if he's still alive, but those are fans.
Yeah, no, they're super fans.
Almost to what a fanatic really is, where it's borderline crazy.
Yep,
that's what that is.
Yep. No, you get to see some cool. I'm hoping some more of those stories come out in the next couple of weeks too, because you got to have certain. You got the swaths of fans. There's got to be like a super fan here and there that stands out for every country. So
I would think so. Cool. I got to look for that guy who's standing on the chair and pointing. Though.
Yeah, I'll send you that piece after. But that said, Colombia, as long as you aren't treating this guy like Andres Escobar, you're good.
I just want to see Valderrama. I haven't seen him yet. Does he still have that snow cone look.
Yeah, he should be in the crowd. Honestly, he
should be in the crowd looking like a pineapple snow cone.
Yep.
With his
orange hair. Yeah,
yellow piece of hair. Love it.
That guy was legit. But then you still got James Rodriguez now at almost the age of 40. The guy was a super stud 20 years ago when he first came out and became a star at the World Cup. I think it was like 2010, maybe 2006 or 2008, something like that, way back. But he's still out there, still playing, still leading his team. So Colombia's got a good shot to win this now, especially with Portugal looking a little pedestrian, unless they were just warming up. I don't know. We'll see.
We'll see how the next game goes. I think that'll sort of – I'm hoping they right the ship because I'd like to see them play on. But if they play like they did the other day, they're not going to get out of this group.
Yep. Now, Uzbekistan, you're another team that I don't know if you belong.
Shouldn't be there. Shouldn't be there.
Go. You proved you belong. That's all I'm going to say. All right. Last
Group L.
Yeah, Group L. I thought that this was going to be kind of like a little bit of a group of death at first, but England came out and put the hammer to Croatia on them, unfortunately. And then they proved that they are going to be that contender. They are a top 5 team on paper. They've got the star power of Bellingham and Kane and everything else. They're going to be interesting to watch. I think for them, it comes down to what you can do, obviously, in the elimination rounds, but also a little bit of their coaching. Yesterday, they pulled a couple of their key guys late in the game, and I thought it kind of may have opened the door for Croatia, but it didn't. And I get rest.
4-2 though, right?
4-2, but at the same time, your 2 guys that are actually firing every ball are now out, and I'm thinking, okay, Croatia could take advantage of this, but it didn't happen. But so be it. I would love to see Croatia still make it out just for one reason. Luka Modric. This man is an icon.
Like him.
Yeah, man's an icon. It'd be cool to see.
And they actually play soccer very well.
Yep.
Ghana has to watch out. You won your game against Panama.
Yeah.
But if you lose against Croatia, could be an issue.
Yeah, and Ghana's one of those teams, again, strong out of the African Federation. They can be a contender, but at the same time, they're against 2 big dogs, in my opinion. Croatia's got history on its side. England's just got star power. So we'll see how it wraps up. But I still think it's going to be England, Croatia out of this group.
Well, and I think this is another one of those groups where 3 teams could come out of it.
Yeah. Well, because 3 automatic wins against Panama.
But I think, as we see with many of the competitions, the first round is the first round.
Yes.
So to get out, you wipe away the pretenders, the teams that don't perform up to par, and then the cream starts rising to the top. Well, rarely, unless it's the host team, do you see a team really perform above.
Had the hardest first round, if you think about it on paper. Playing Croatia in the very first game, that's a tough out.
That was a tough out.
And the fact that you came out so strong, I think they're kind of leading the pack right now in terms of strength leading into the second round, which kicks off later today. But like you said, first round of the matchup, it's in the books. All right, let's see where your real teams show up in this game 2, game 3 situation in a group stage.
I have a feeling it's going to come down to like a team like Germany.
Yes.
And a Norway. And Argentina. Those are the 3 teams that I think are going to come out of all of this, and 2 of those 3 teams are going to be in the final.
I am curious to see how this Mexican team comes together. They're not the exceptional goal scorers just yet, but the fact that they got home soil, they got a crowd. Oh boy, do they have a crowd! When you've got people from Korea wearing sombreros, that's called cultural appropriation at its finest in Chihuahua, Mexico. Let me tell you, it's cool. And there is a huge Korean contingent that came down, by the way, to watch these games in Mexico. It's pretty cool on the screen.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but
that's awesome.
But I tell you what,
the true global sport. We call our sports the World Series and the champ, but really we just get players from these places. Soccer is something that's global.
Yeah, and getting back to what we like to hone in on every day, this is truly where humans come together. I mean, look at this guy coming from Germany and logging himself around the country, going to like rural parts of America and eating at Waffle House at 1 a.m., going out and getting Chick-fil-A sandwiches, and he's like, this is America. Like,
I'm not leaving.
They've actually got a term right now called the FIFA 15 for these international travelers, where they're going to be packing on, American weight, baby.
I didn't hear about that. You're going to gain 15 pounds, sort of like the office, the new job office 15 pounds.
Yeah. So, no, it's going to be, like I said, appreciate it. Enjoy the FIFA World Cup while we've got it. It's a great thing. Go to a bar, honestly. That's where the coolest scenes right now is, forget buying the tickets and stuff like that. Go to a bar, go out to the scene, go to the fan bases. It's cool to watch.
Yeah, there's a bar. If you guys, anybody in Chicago checking this out, There's a bar called the Globe. It's on Irving Park and just east of Lincoln Avenue.
Yep.
I've been there with through my wife, my Uncle John, who just rest in peace, passed away this year. We would go there and watch games when they came to visit from Austria, and it was just fun. We just had a great time. Actually, they came from England.
Oh, wow.
But we would go there, and it's a great place to go. If you want to watch a soccer game, go there.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. Now, on that note, let's circle back a little bit back to the world of hockey, where we got the Carolina Hurricanes.
You know, it's weird that the warm cities are dominating hockey. We had the Vegas Knights against the Carolina Hurricanes. Who'd have thunk that with the original 8?
No, we've stolen a sport from you this year. I hate to say it. Like, it's literally been stolen from you.
Well, Canada, I'm so surprised that these Canadian teams aren't putting up a fight any longer. It used to be, you know, the Canadians and the Oilers and the Maple Leafs, and you'd see those teams, and you just don't see those teams anymore. Although, actually, no, it was the Hartford Whalers. Is that who the Carolina Hurricane are?
They became,
So another expansion team.
Yep.
Not the traditional one because they just moved a team, but hats off to them. They played amazing hockey. They were able to overcome deficits. They were able to buckle down, and their goalie, Boosie, give you all the credit.
Boosie gave it loose.
You know, he was blocking everything. He was doing what was necessary. Vegas put up a strong fight. But I got to give Rob Rindamore some credit. He played for a team, and now he coached the team to the championship. So my hat's off to you for doing that, bro.
Yes, sir. No, that was cool to watch. Like you said, the nice little comeback story in hockey. Every game they came back, it was pretty impressive to watch. And frankly, it was a scintillating 6-game series, like back and forth all day. It was cool to watch that. Absolutely,
it was.
I know some people were even saying like it was one of the best Stanley Cups ever, and I'm like, yeah, it's up there. Like the entertainment factor of every game was nuts for this game, for this series.
I just love the fact the very first game sort of showed you where it was going to go. You know, Vegas Knights down right away, 2-0, like that. And boom, they come back. The other game,
the other
Carolina was down 4 goals, 4, and came back and forced overtime. Still lost the game, but again, just great. That's what you want to watch as a fan. You don't want to watch a blowout. You want to watch a close game. You want to watch teams go back and forth, and the last minute of the game means something. And it seemed like every one of those games or matches were like that.
Nope. Hats off to Carolina. Speaking of comebacks, there is this gal coming back to England here shortly. Her name is Serena Williams. And let me tell you, this was the reason I thought she was going to come back, just to kind of put that one little last cap for even Venus at this point, where you got a chance to maybe go out on top, and it'd be cool to see, honestly. In dubs as 2 sisters who own the sport literally to a T. I'm glad it's happening. I'm glad that, you know, she kind of did the tune-up matches and everything else. The girl's hitting 120 on her serve. I mean, she's back. She can play dubs.
I give her all the credit. She still looked like she could play some tennis. One thing that I agree with you on this. People don't really, those who don't know about tennis, don't really understand the value and of what Venus Williams has done for women's tennis. She got them on par with the men. She battled the system to get Wimbledon and all of these other tournaments to pay equal wages, and she stood on that. And she didn't do it for herself. She did it for all of the women playing tennis. Give her the credit, and for her to be able to come back and hopefully maybe win with Serena would be a great way to
cap off her career.
Cap off her career, and have her go into retirement being appreciated for everything she's done for the sport of tennis.
I think what gets lost is, I mean, yes, Venus came first, Serena came second, Serena ended up winning more championships. I get that.
Venus was dominant though at one point.
Venus is still a top 5 player in history. History. And we're talking Steffi Graf, Margaret Court, all these other names that are in the annals of tennis. Martina Navratilova, Chris Evert, you take your pick. Venus Williams is top 5, and we're still here talking,
Well, and it just shows you how dominant both of the sisters were to be in the same conversation with the legends of the sport, like the Navratilovas and the Everetts and the Grafs. And they deserve it. Here are 2 kids, two kids who came from Compton. And you know, just to keep it real, seeing that Juneteenth is coming up too, tomorrow. To keep it real, black people weren't playing tennis.
No.
They weren't even allowed to play. We weren't allowed to play any of the sports, to be honest.
Now, Bia Gibson, Arthur Ashe. That is the limit of what you knew. Yes.
And that's it. We weren't allowed. So to see not just a black kid, you know, excel at this sport, but a black kid from Compton. If anybody knows, you guys know what Compton is. Yeah. And I'm not talking just NWA. I mean, go to Compton. Yeah, that's for real. That's like real live, hope I survive the day kind of stuff.
Yes.
So for Richard to take these girls and introduce them to a sport that wasn't traditionally something that we as black people are accustomed to playing, and bring them out to those country clubs and bring them to those areas and deal with the racism that was there, to deal with some of the, you know, exclusions, not just on race, but on financial standing. And for him to persevere through that and battle the system and not need an agent, but do all of his stuff himself, and to put those girls in a situation for them to excel to the point that they have, clap kudos to you.
I don't think Richard Williams gets enough credit. I mean, I know some of the controversy surrounding him and his methodology and all that crap, and honestly, I can give two shits about it. It's as simple as this. The man has inspired millions in urban centers around this country to bring up programs for tennis for underprivileged youth and everything else. Granted, they haven't seen the same successes that he did because he was able to break that barrier where others couldn't.
Right.
Gets that credit for having crossed over, gone to the country clubs, gotten his daughters to play, beat the crap out of players that were getting anointed and everything else.
Yes.
And just says, through the system, I'm going to bring them up my way and I'm going to do it the right way. I still applaud it to this day. I don't care how he did it. I don't care what flack he gets for it. The man challenged the system and won. And he doesn't get enough credit for it for the USTA, in my opinion. And I will knock that organization all day. That's why Serena and Venus don't go back and support the USTA as much as they want to, because they were always the ones against them.
They weren't supporting them when they were coming up.
Exactly. They didn't give them the grant money like the other kids get.
Nope.
They didn't
have to earn it.
Exactly.
They had to earn it.
And all they did was win on the court. Simple
and
as that.
You know, and again, not to get on the soapbox or anything, but you know, we're about to celebrate the 250th anniversary on the 4th of July of America, right? And it's independence. And I'll say that word specifically because not everybody was independent. Not everybody was given those freedoms. Even after, you know, slavery was abolished, the whole June 19th thing tells you that it wasn't, because even people in Texas were still keeping slaves when the law was passed and far beyond that, and didn't allow them their freedom. And in the sporting landscape, we had baseball where black players weren't allowed to play. There were black leagues, and black leagues played against white leagues, and they had great players, but they were never given their due and never given an opportunity to shine. Hockey, we again, and this is probably more financial than anything else, and it's sad to say that this financial part still matters because we should all be on a level to be able to do that. But hockey is a sport that most black people can't afford to do. We can't afford to buy the skates, can't afford to do that thing. That's why we play baseball and basketball and football, because it's the cheap sports where you don't have to have all of this equipment and spend a lot of money to be able to play it. So to see people excel in these sports, to see the Subans in hockey, to see, you mentioned Arthur Ashe and Althea Gibson and the Venuses, and now you see so many other black players playing tennis, and to see more than, well, we really still only had Tiger Woods. You got Vernon, I forgot his name. He was a black golfer. I'd like to see more of that. But I'd like to see various colors of all people playing all sports, because we have things that can contribute to the sport and to the whole idea of watching and being entertained by sport, but we weren't given those chances. And I hope that we continue to open the doors, whether it's black or white or green, whether it's male or female. Let people play, and if they're great, let their greatness shine. It shouldn't matter what color they look like or how much money they have.
I'll jokingly say this, and I wouldn't say joking, I'll say more tongue-in-cheek. Look at the World Cup. Look at the tickets that the teams that have historically been all white, the Englands, the New Zealands, whatever. What's the primary makeup of their teams now? Things of color.
Germany, I was going to say that. When you mentioned Germany, they got like two brothers on their team.
They do.
So I still think there's some prejudice within the soccer sport and prejudice in people, period. So it isn't sport related. I just think it's the society itself. But it's great to see people excel who aren't part of the standard that was set for all of these sports.
I'll selfishly say there is a person of Indian origin playing for New Zealand right now, last name Singh, and I'm like, there's a brown person playing soccer somewhere in the world on a global stage.
Let's do it.
In a country of 1 billion people, China and India, you can't support a soccer team by yourself, but apparently the players can go find someplace else to go.
Hey, well, the one player on the soccer team, I just saw him yesterday. So he was Zidane's son, who
Algeria.
Did not. So he went and played for Algeria because he wasn't able to play for France or whatever. So I love that.
I think it's Congo that was able to poach players from European teams because of dual citizenship and stuff. There's some cool stories there that came out during the DRC game. It was pretty cool. But no, and that's the beauty of the sport. You can go back and play for these teams in some capacity, do your stuff, and not be oppressed by color or anything of that sort. Absolutely,
you shouldn't be. And just so we can get the rest of this in, we're talking about tennis. You got Wimbledon coming up. The prohibitive favorites are going to be Sabalenka and either
Sinner, Alcaraz,
depending on how he's come back from his injury. We got the U.S. Open.
Yes, sir.
The U.S. Open is playing this week. It's starting today. We have a cavalcade of golfers. They've actually changed the U.S. Open green patterns because of it might be a brutal one. 5 over might win this championship given the wind condition.
Rough.
and it's always like that for the U.S. Open. So if you're not hitting fairways, and even if you are hitting fairways, what they had to do because of all of the winds and what they were afraid of with the greens and balls never stopping was that they're actually going to water down the greens and slow the greens down so that they actually can stay on the green. And that may help some of the pros, but I have a feeling that an even par score will win this game.
The tall grass, they were showing some snippets on YouTube. I think Shambo and a bunch of others were showing the tall grass. It's 3 feet tall. You lose your ball in there, good luck. You're trying to hack that thing out, good luck. And like you said, because they had to water the greens to make the ball even stick.
Well, if you're hitting out of the rough, first off, the rough is so penalizing you don't get the distance. So you probably are going to have to play for par if you're hitting the rough box. And even if you're hitting out of the rough and you get a decent line, you can get to the green. If you don't have any spin, how are you going to hold the ball on the green?
Prohibitively, I'm going to say that you can't survive on a long ball in this course. So the guys like Rory and everybody else, they might be at a little disadvantage. It'll be interesting to see. There's some cool pairings, by the way. I had a list up earlier in the week. Like I think it's the afternoon groups at like 1 and 1:30 this afternoon. They're overloaded with talent. If I had a ticket for today, there's like a 4-group stretch where you've got like, I'd say 16 of the top 40 golfers in golf.
Which is great. That's
and I would just be following that track all day if I were out there.
Well, here could be the problem, though. They were saying the winds might kick up in the afternoon, so it might be even worse in the afternoon. So these great players that you're seeing, you might not see great golf.
Yep. And see, like I said, this is where it's going to be fun. Like I said, the beauty of the U.S. Open is it's Father's Day weekend. That's off Father's Day. This is a cool time to appreciate golf, not just because it's the U.S. Open and everything else, but this is a good time for father, son, daughter, father. All the kind of bonding that could happen for Father's Day is always cool because you get to see the 18th on Sunday, wind down at the end of the day, which happens to be the longest day of the year in terms of sunlight this year too, which is kind of nice with it. So you're going to see sunlight 6 p.m., 7 p.m. at Shin o'clock. You're going to see this cool setting. Appreciate it with your family is all I can say. It's just cool. It's a cool experience.
For real. And I'm hats off to my son, Eric. He's done this the last 2 years and did it again this year. We're going to play Cog Hill both Saturday and Sunday.
Right.
So, but the weather might not allow it on Sunday. We'll see. But, again, for everyone who's out there, I have to say this to stand up for us men, right? I've seen one ad for Father's Day.
Yep.
One.
Yep. I think we said this last year too.
Yeah, and it's Sunday.
Yep, Sunday.
Today's Thursday.
Yeah. There's no lead up to Father's Day like there is Mother's. Mother's Day is a week long.
Oh yeah, Mother's Day is months long. They start Mother's Day in like
Mother's
March.
Day and Valentine's Day, which I think is also a biased holiday.
Yep, me too. You know what should happen on Valentine's Day? All of you women, and don't get me wrong, there's been a lot of injustices for colors and genders and everything in America because it's been built on, what it's been built on. I'm not even going to go there.
Yep.
But you guys should really, I forgot my train of thought, but you guys should really be looking at, like men matter too. We're part of that equation. Treat us like you treat the women.
Yep.
and when we have Valentine's Day, why don't you pay the bill once in a while?
I'm going to challenge the women right now. This is going to be controversial, sexist, whatever you want to call it. Valentine's Day 2027. Do you know what it is this year, or what this coming year is? Next year?
No.
Super Bowl Sunday.
What?
Damn you all to go buy the man in your life a ticket to the Super Bowl and go out there, or even some form of centering around the Super Bowl, let's say. Even if you want to throw a party for him, do whatever. I challenge you all.
I love that. I think that would be fair. I think that would make up for the
that women are sexist against football in any measure by saying that. But I'm saying if you really want to make it it's gender neutral in any fashion.
Yes, yes. Because Valentine's Day has always been slanted towards the women, and I challenge this. We talk about, you know, like you have people who go out and they Dutch, you know, pay Dutch, but I've never really done that. I've always been the guy who pays the bill. Why is it assumed that the guy pays the bill, but then the women say, "Oh, well, you know, you guys are male chauvinistic. You're, you know, anti this, anti that." Yeah. I want to be equal, but I want you to pay the bill. How's that?
Hot take. There's a reason that people fought for women's equality. Well, it should be equal then, both on both sides, shouldn't it?
Yeah, you know, don't expect me to open the door. Don't expect me to sit in that. Don't expect me to pay the bill. You know, or what I do with my friends.
Open the door. I will pay for as much as you pay.
Well, and that's it. You know, like if you and I go out to lunch, I might pay the bill one time, you'll pay the bill the next time. Exactly. That should be the understanding, not that it's supposed to be all on me, but then you're talking behind my neck.
Exactly. The double standard kills me to this day. And I'm not trying to sound sexist, but it pains me to say that it's hypocritical in the sense that you're fighting for equality. We're giving you equality, and everybody else is equal footing in our world. At least we like to believe that in our, you know, what we talk about every day.
Right.
Well, if it is, then let's treat it that way. You know?
In all aspects, financially, everything else. Don't just make it one-sided. So you guys don't treat this. We're not equals, but you have to. There's an expectation. The man has to provide.
Well, expectation is what caused the rift in the first place.
Right. And I'm not going to go on what that expectation was.
But that said, I challenge every woman out there to try to center Valentine's Day 2027 around the Super Bowl. That'll make everybody happy. Trust me.
I like that. I like that a lot. And just to close, that's what I was going to parallel. That would have been a good segue to. We were talking about how Trump upstaged the different sporting events, championship sporting events. Yeah. And then he, in my opinion, disrespected the White House by bringing a spectacle to the lawn of the White House. This is not idiocracy, but it's sure looking like it.
I'm not a fan of what happened in any fashion. I get the spectacle of trying to bring attention to America, DC, it's the Independence, all that.
But was it?
But you don't desecrate. Yeah, you don't desecrate the White House lawn with. Not necessarily. I'm not saying UFC fighting is the desecration. I'm saying you don't desecrate it with other acts of whatever it is. It could be any other event. Right now, you got a carnival going on in the National Mall. Literally, I've got a Ferris wheel in front of the National Monument right now.
What is that?
Yeah, exactly. Like, I get the spectacle of it, celebrating your independence, but there is a reason that we kept things separate in that realm optically. Like, there's a history and value to the United States. We don't create entertainment and craziness around it. we treat it as something regal, pure, and, you know, refined.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That is the White House, and we basically put a ring in front of it and had, you know, and I love MMA. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, same.
There wasn't a place for it. And I don't know if there was a deal with him and Dana White. Hey, you help support me. I'll give you this if I get in. I don't know what happened there.
Hey, boost up my ratings and boost up my work, that kind of thing. It was a political play in its own right, and I hate to say that it was, but it was. And it didn't provide any value. Like, when I think back 10 years from now, oh, there was a fight for the UFC and the DC. Was that for Independence Day? No, it was just for a spectacle of the UFC. That's all it was.
That's all it was. Yeah. And Trump's birthday, was it Trump's birthday or something?
Yeah. It had you, well, it was his birthday, but that's you know, it's all coinciding, unfortunately. But here's what I say to this: if you're truly celebrating Americans' independence, let's bring back the history. Let's honor all the presidents that are alive. Let's do everything that's, you know, historically valuable to teach the country a lesson, and more importantly, the kids in this country a lesson of what it means to be free, what it means to have freedom in this country, and what we did to get that freedom at the end of the day.
I was going to say that last part, what it took to get freedom. And the Chicago Historical Society is actually doing something that I think needs to be done, because we've been trying to get rid of history. We don't want people to read about what the bad things. You learn from all aspects of history, good and bad.
Yep.
And we're trying to hide those things. But this museum is actually bringing it out and talking about, so what did these purchases really do?
Yeah.
It displaced Native Americans.
Yeah.
It took land cheaply from, them. And basically, we then put them on reservations. What about Asians and blacks who built this country on their backs and got no money for it? In some cases they were, just slaves. In other cases they were sort of like indentured servants, which is no different than a slave.
Yep.
We need to have that be part of what our true history is, because that's what made America. This whole thing about immigrants and stuff, what made America great was that we were the melting pot. We had people come from all of these different lands and bring their languages and their culture and their, and how they lived to America. And we brought that and made that what America was. America isn't American because I live in the South. America was all of these people coming together and bringing that and creating a culture that was different than anything else in the world.
There's one point of history that I don't feel gets emphasized enough when it gets talked to students, and I saw it firsthand with my son's history class this year. When the American railroad system was developed, which honestly connected the country, literally connected the country.
Who built that?
Who built that? Chinese, Mexican,
Chinese.
all the immigrants that came into this country, and we still talk about only Promontory Point and putting the first stake in and all that, and that's it. We cut out the significance of that portion of history, in my opinion. This is just me as a historian fan. The significance of how you connected a country by railroad in the 1800s plays a role in how America was developed at the end of the day.
Hello. Well, and let's talk, we slavery is just a blip in a history book. Slavery built America.
Yes.
And we gave nothing to those people. And remember, reparations, which was promised by law, never got paid to the people who were enslaved.
How do we to make the Louisiana Purchase from all that tobacco farming? Who did all that tobacco farming and all that cotton picking?
Hello.
Exactly.
It's like people don't think that far ahead. It's just like, let's just whitewash this. It didn't really mean anything. What we did to people and the injustices that we have that are part of laws today about us not being inhumane and inhumane in how we act and the laws we apply. That was not the case back then.
If there was something that the White House could have done, or even the legislation could have done during this time when you're bringing in all these people from all these global walks of life for the World Cup, you would have taught a history lesson on the White House lawn. Seriously, that would have been
better,
because that would have been a destination for these folks. Like, oh, this is the history of America. Oh, let's go enjoy all the things that they've earned the right to do. We got the earned to watch soccer. We got the right to watch football. We have the right to do anything in this damn country we want, as far as I'm concerned. Over a lot of other countries that don't have that ever.
Right. And there's some great things about America. Don't get me wrong, but let's not forget what it costs some people.
Yes.
And just so people who are listening know, my mom picked cotton, so it wasn't that far ago. Wasn't that long ago that we were doing these things, or sharecroppers, the people who were set free from the
1930s, 40s, 50s feel like a long time, but it really wasn't.
It really wasn't, because I feel it, because my mom lived it, and I lived it through the stories she told me as a kid about the injustices that she had to endure just to try to make sure that she could live. So let's think about that and let's learn about that so we don't repeat these things. But more importantly, maybe we have a little bit more respect for those people who don't look like you, because imagine if your mother had to pick cotton, or your grandfather was a slave. Think about that. It's not that far from now. So let's not be so judgmental of the people who are living today, because of the things that happened in the past influence where they are today. You didn't have that. You had privilege, and we didn't have that privilege.
Now, granted, there are no games for the World Cup in Washington, D.C., or even really nearby. Philadelphia is the closest thing. But if you do have the opportunity and you're from abroad and traveling for the World Cup, I ask you do come down to D.C., not for the spectacle that is, but you got the History Museum. You got the African American History Museum. It teaches you a lot there in one day. Trust me, I don't even have one day. I need 3 days to go through it. That's how deep it is in terms of history. It's crazy. All the other museums and things that will tell you about the history of America and how it's come up. It's worth a visit. It's free. All the museums are free, thankfully. But at the same time, the fact that we can't showcase our history in a time that, honestly, the entire world's lens is on us right now because of the World Cup, They should have been using it that way, but we didn't. We used it to show off, UFC politicism, if you will. And again, nothing against the UFC. It's just that wasn't the thing to showcase about this country when you had the opportunity.
I agree. Love MMA, love the league, love what Dana White's done with that. But at the same time, opportunities arise, and if you don't take advantage of them, they're missed opportunities. And who knows if you have another chance like that to be able to take the world and be able to, provide some education so that people get, and we're all about this. It's about us, not about you and I. It's about us. We, the people, not you, the people, not me, the people. We, the people.
Good example. Argentinian fans took over Kansas City. They blocked off a key part of the major thoroughfare in downtown. What happens to be there? One of the few Argentine restaurants in all of Kansas City. And sure enough, they blend barbecue and Argentine beef together. Can you imagine the marriage of those things?
Ooh, I want to go.
Fly down just to eat such an item. But again, the melting pot. This is what we want.
And we're brown and browner. But you know what? We're brothers. And you know what? Even if you're not brown, no matter what color you are, you're still a brother. We're all brothers and sisters in this. And if we start acting more like that, maybe we can make this world great again.
Our belief is we all came from one place. So we're all one people at the end of the day. So let's act like it at the end of the day.
You know what? I want to give a shout out to all the fathers out there. And actually, let me rephrase that. It may be called Father's Day, but I'm shouting out those dads who sacrificed their time, who went to the job during the day, came home at night like I did. And first thing I thought about was, let's take my son out to play some football. Let's take my son out to the park. Let's go here. Let's do that. Because those are the memories that make you a dad. A father is just a sperm donor.
Exactly.
A dad is somebody who was there to help raise the child that they bore and actually created memories for the love to be there. So for all of those guys who have done that, I give you credit. And not just the men. There are women out there that are single parents. My mom was one of them.
They play that role.
They're playing that role too. You're playing both sides, the man, the mother and the father. I give you even more credit, and my hat goes off to you, and I salute you guys. Enjoy the upcoming weekend, celebrate yourselves, and continue to be that influence that brings positivity into the children that you have.
Cap it off by watching the 18th on the U.S. Open. That's all I can say. It's a special moment. You don't even have to be a golf fan. There's just something special about how Jim Nantz brings that entire situation together.
He's great.
And it doesn't matter who's winning, doesn't matter anything. It's just a cool moment because you get to see not only the golfer, but usually the parent or the parents that are there, and they're embracing and just knowing that they helped their son or daughter come up, win, and everything else that embodies, like you just said, Dad's Day. Let's keep it as simple as that.
Remember when Tiger cried?
Yes, that's the greatest moment on earth. Earl Woods, Tiger Woods embracing, and then Tiger and Charlie embracing.
Yeah.
In 2019. You can't write stories better than that, and they aren't stories; they're real. It's as simple as that.
And you know what? Take every day to create those moments, because those are the real stories, and that's the joy of the journey of your life. It's not only the joy in you having that journey, but the legacy you leave behind.
No, absolutely. On that note, we say enjoy the World Cup, enjoy the craziness that is, that all the cool fans and everybody getting together at all these events, and then of course cap it off with Dad's Day this weekend. Absolutely.
And Juneteenth tomorrow too. Celebrate and educate. Celebrate and educate, because all of those things will help bring us together and stop separating us.
Exactly. On that note, we will be back next week. We will bring you round 2 of the World Cup and where we stand with some of our projections going into the elimination rounds, because they'll be starting the following week. But the drama will ensue. Enjoy every minute of it and every afternoon while you can, even while at work.
And I'll say, USA, let's go and win this. Not just the group stage. Let's make some
noise. Let's prove it this year. You're hosting it. Let's prove it. Absolutely.
Let's prove it.
Good luck, USA.
All right.
See you guys.
Be well, everyone.